The world gets crazy sometimes. It's crazy all the time. And fellas, sometimes we just need to get away. And down south, we go hunting and fishing to get away. This is the Backroads Podcast. Let's do this. Welcome to the Backroads Podcast. Now, here's your host, Chris Hobbs.
All right, welcome in to another edition of the Backroads Podcast. I got my buddy with me in studio here today, former hunting and fishing guide, Mr. Rodney Turner. Rodney, how's it going?
Doing good, man. Good to be here again.
Appreciate you coming in. I know it's tough to come in here when you could be out there on the water fishing. And speaking of that, I know you fished a tournament on Neely Henry the other day. Tell us a little bit about how that went, and kind of like what we do with Lee. What'd you catch him on, and how many did you catch?
All the secrets, lay it out on the table. Well, there ain't no secrets. Everybody knows Neely Henry. I mean, this time of the year gets slow, but it really showed out the other night. Everybody had a good time. Wasn't as many boats in the tournament that I figured that they would for that evening, because it was a nice evening, but ended up 10 or 12 boats there. But really, the fishing was pretty consistent. I mean, we started off on main river points and throwing crankbaits and stuff, but toward the late evening, it was an evening tournament. It's just from 5 to 8 o'clock or 8:30, and we got into a pretty consistent pattern on the grass bite on the river, and had some fun. Really had some fun throwing some top water in that grass and throwing around the edges, cranking around the edges and stuff, and ended up catching some pretty decent fish. Ended up with a 591 for our big fish, and lost a few fish, but there's a lot of people come in with a lot of good fish that day. So just shows you Neely Henry still got them. It might be hard to catch them sometimes, but they still there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I know the last few years, the fishing's been a little tougher on the Coosa than it has been in previous years. You think it's turning around?
Yeah, I just think it all depends on pressure. You know, toward these latter ends, a lot of these tournaments is done, big tournaments is done come and gone, and the fish ain't as pressured no more. So as it gets hotter, people don't fish as much too. So I just think the fish just ain't as pressured toward the latter part of the summer or mid part of the summer. So a lot of people just get out there and enjoy riding stuff instead of really hard fishing.
Well, yeah, because sea-doo season, it's a recreational boat season, and as I call them, water turds.
That's right.
But and one question I did want to ask, since you've been on that lake your whole life, what about the impact on all the lakes, not just in Alabama but everywhere, where the high school tournaments and the college tournaments, what kind of impact is that having on our fisheries?
I support any kind of tournament for those kids. I mean, they work hard, they practice. I mean, but on any fishery, when you got some of those high school tournaments end up with 200-something boats, I mean, that's awesome. But it's going to have an impact on your fishery. I mean, you go fish a day or two after one of those high school tournaments, they've caught them. They've practiced 2 weeks ahead of that, and then they fished hard for those 2 days of that tournament. I mean, they've about hooked every fish in the river pretty much. I mean, those kids practice and they learn and they figure out how to do their electronics. They can catch them in the grass, offshore, out on brush piles in the middle of the river. I mean, those kids can find them and they can fish. I mean, they're some of the hardest working little kids I've ever seen, and they know what they're doing.
Well, speaking of knowing what they're doing, and this, of course, people that have listened to this podcast know I'm a pro and con guy, and a lot of times I take the con side of something. But I know you've captained a couple of these boats for some of these high school tournaments over the years. But your experience driving a boat is well beyond some of these dads that, you know, their kids decided, hey, I want to be on the fishing team. And, you know, it's new to not only the kid, but the father, as far as backing boats in the water and actually driving boats, you know, in a crowd. You know, not only around other fishermen, but you know, around the recreational boaters as well. What kind of danger in your mind do these drivers pose on our waterways? And do you think there should be some kind of training for some of these, you know, these new boat drivers out there?
Well, I think they do a real good job on these high school tournaments. They're big time before it blast off, talking about safety, life vests, you know, giving everybody room. So, I mean, you know, I've really never actually seen anybody get anybody in any kind of trouble. Everybody's pretty courteous about, you know, how they blast off, and they wait within waves. You know, they blast off 10 or 12 boats, and then they'll give a gap, and then they'll blast off 10 or 12 and weigh them in at different stages when they're coming in. So I think they do a real good job keeping everybody safe. And I think at high school level, when they're teaching this, that's one of the main things they teach them: safety and courtesy, and, you know. And the younger you start driving a boat and understanding how that boat feels on waves and wakes, and how another boat affects your boat, I mean, it's I think it's a good thing getting them started like that, and letting them all go out there as a team with their dads. And somebody, you know, like I said, I did a couple for Alexandria, and all of them. Those were some great kids that I took out.
And is that Alexandria High School in
Alexandria
Alabama?
High School in Alabama. Yeah, they've ended up being some great fishermen. They're still fishing today, and I keep up with those kids. And one of them actually had his own business making baits, started making some baits and selling them. So he's doing well in that line. So, yeah, just having the knowledge to be able to pass it on to those kids, and they ask a lot of questions, and the new age generation, they'll Google it. If they don't understand it, they'll Google it. They'll find out something about it. They can find it on that web. Where we didn't. We had old flashers, and you got out there and learned the river from what somebody told you.
Yes, go Paw.
Yeah, old Paw. He'll tell you there's a hump out there and catch a fish off of it.
Look out for that stuff, boy.
Yeah, but now they can get online in the wintertime and get the picture of the lake while it's down and see all the stumps, and go back during time to fish it and mark all of them and check them with their 360 or live scope, whatever they want to do. See if there's a fish on it, mark that waypoint. Never even fish, come back and fish, you know, day of tournament, and go back to all their waypoints that they mark fish and just go to fishing. I mean, it's so more complicated now. It's a lot more than what I would want to put into it, but you got to have the time and to get out there on that water and mark all that and scan it all.
Well, you're old school like me, and you know, you're still, when you and I fish together, we're still on, hey, you know, that stump flat over there has been good to us for years.
That's
so we're
right.
gonna
go back to it.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to it. But
yeah,
you know, the like I said on a previous podcast with Lee Pitts, you know, the electronics it's a game changer as far as leveling the playing field for people that don't have a lot of lake knowledge or that old school fishing knowledge passed down from you know, generation to generation that's been previously on these lakes. So, and I tell you one thing I think is very good about the electronics is you can go out there and pre-fish without fishing.
That's right.
And you're not sore mouthing a bunch of fish, and you know, well, I saw them here, so instead of, you know, blindly throwing, you know, somewhere and hooking a few,
at least you got confidence knowing that you're in fish or around fish.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Now, when y'all fished your tournament the other night, what you caught the 5+ one? What'd y'all catch that on?
Basically throwing soft plastics in grass. Just, wherever current was hitting the grass, needed current in the grass. So we found that out pretty quick. We fished a lot of dead bank that didn't produce nothing but current in the grass, and there was some fish in it. Just like you talking about with things changing at my age, when we blasted off the other night, I told my partner, I said, we sat there until everybody blasted off and we was the last one to leave. I looked at him, I said, 15 years ago, when it would have hit 5:29, we would have gunned it and blasted off and beat everybody. But I said, here we are sitting here till everybody's gone and we just ease out of here. And I said, if there's more than 15 boats, the first thing we look for is where somebody didn't go. We going as far away from any traffic they are. I said, it's totally different than what we was years ago.
That's funny you bring that up, because Lee and I talked about that exact same thing on
away from
episode
the traffic.
13. Lee goes, if it's a shotgun start,
yeah,
he goes last.
Oh,
he waits for all the craziness
let them go
to clear out of the way. And I was telling him about a boat that got washed into a bank on Smith Lake. It was on, the guy had a GoPro going while he was heading out, and the boats to the right of him washed him into the bank, and he hit that bank, bounced right back into the water. So that was crazy. But
yeah.
Well, all right. Let's we talked about last week too that we're gonna have Rex Holmes Jr. on from Vapor Trail Scents.
No Rex, yeah.
Maker of the 33-point book. And the reason I bring it up again is you were with me when we went to, was that Vidalia, Mississippi?
Vidalia, Mississippi.
Hotter than 30 hells.
Oh, great trip.
And but kind of tell the listeners a little bit about your experience with a 33-point book. I kind of laid it out for them as far as the experience I had, but kind of just another perspective.
Yeah, we pretty good ways over to go see Rex, and we went down there, and like you said, it was hot, summertime, and it's going down there to try to help him with some pig gratification. We went down there, and he had his vapor maker outs, and he was showing us how to use them and loaded them up. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that was the savior for me, having that vapor maker on me. If I was to get hot, start sweating, I know when you go to sweating, you're gonna put out some scent, and pigs are just like anything else. They smell you, and if you spook deer, you spook the pigs. And so every time I get sweating, I just take that vapor maker and just mist myself off, because it makes the prettiest mist of cool water and scent killer on you that you ever seen. And it's quiet, easily accessible, carryable, and everything else. So we had a great time, seeing a lot of pigs, killed a lot of pigs. I had deer within 5 foot of me, downwind, and I took my vapor maker out and sprayed it in the wind, and that vapor maker went right toward them deer. They didn't raise their head. They didn't bother them. That's really a great product that he's putting out. I mean, it was like undetectable. I mean, really, it was really good. It's really good stuff.
Well, one thing I want everybody to know is we don't have any sponsors. So
That's
Rex
right.
is not a sponsor of the show. If he wanted to be, he could be, but right now he's not. We're bringing him on because he's very informative. He's been in the hunting industry for many, many years. And I thought it would just be some good info for you guys, and not a new product, but a relatively new product, and a great way to dispense it that I don't think anybody's really thought of. And believe me, Rex will go into detail about why he dispenses that product in that vapor maker and why that's more effective than just your spray bottles. So we'll have Rex on still haven't locked down the exact week, but we're gonna have him on the next couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, Rodney, when we get off the program here, we're gonna call Rex and have a little powwow with him and try to get him locked in. But
Well, nobody wants to miss that. I'm telling you, because Rex has a lot of experience on this and a lot of knowledge about how to use these. And it's that time of the year to go hunt some pigs and stuff. So you need to have your vapor maker with you. This hot weather, spraying you down, stay undetected. That's a great product to have with you.
that's exactly right. And look, we know it because we used it.
We used it. We all used it.
We lived it.
Yep.
And still living it because we're still using it.
That's right.
But all right, well, Rodney, we're gonna go. We're gonna talk to Lee. Pitt's gonna get him online and talk to him a little bit about what's going on Weiss Lake and what he's up to. And then we're gonna talk to Rusty Burroughs, former professional angler. And Rusty's been on Logan Martin, so we're gonna talk to him a little bit. And so right now we're gonna go to Lee Pitts. Well, Lee, are you there?
Man, I'm here with you.
All right. We got Lee connected. Appreciate you joining us, Lee. Had Rodney on with us, talking a little bit about Neely Henry here in Gadsden, and I know you've been on Weiss a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on Weiss and what you've been doing.
You know, right now, Weiss Lake is fishing really well. It's, that time of year, we still got some fish in the grass, still got some shallow fish, which the Coosa chain, you know yourself, there's always shallow fish on it. It can be the heat of the summer, and in the mornings and evenings, you can still catch them on that shallow wood. But everything's looking good right now on Weiss. And normally this is not our crappie season, but we're still catching crappie right now too.
Wow. That's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense. Water temperatures getting up in the 80s, and but still a lot of these fish, I don't know if it's because we had those weather issues in that April, early May, that some of these fish are really trying to get back up there and do their thing. But I had a trip last week. I had a couple of guys. They were here for some family vacation, and I really wasn't expecting to catch. We caught some white bass, caught a few small stripe, and then we got out on a few places and caught some crappie and wound up had 20 good keeper crappie on a half-a-day deal. So I was just, they're like, yeah, we heard this was a good place to crappie fish. I said, you don't understand. We're not supposed to be catching them right now here. This is the time of year that they're kind of busting up, getting out on that river. And it's like I tell people, I said, I've been to Texas, Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, all these places that in the summertime, you can still get out there and catch these crappie in that 25, 30 feet of water that everybody puts out brush piles. So you can get out there and drop those baits down and still catch them. Here, they get out on that main river and they bust up. And I tell them, I said, it's like they hate each other. They don't want to get around each other. They don't want to be in a ball. They just want to get out, do their thing, feed at night, and just make it till the winter.
That sounds like somebody else I know, but I won't get into that part of it.
I got you.
But what do you, just out of curiosity, what are you catching them on?
Most what we're doing now, and man, I've got to give Bobby Garland a little plug on this one. The new Mayfly bait had just come out this year, and we've always had that color Mayfly, but this is a whole new design. This is and even not only with the bait, the packaging is different. It's more or less like, and I think we've mentioned this before, a set of wet wipes or something like that you open the pack from the top. It's already pre-scented, pre-oiled, and we've got 10 of our top colors in this bait. And it's kind of a little creature bait deal. It looks just like a Mayfly. It's got the little appendages coming off of it, got the split tail in the back. And I started out early this year pulling it just to see if fish would react to it. And man, I was very impressed. I mean, it's even when you're looking at early spring and mayflies are nowhere to be found, I was still pulling with this bait. When I say pulling, I'm long lining and catching fish. And now that I'm kind of shooting docks with this and even doing a casting the brush piles, man, this bait right here is just awesome. I mean, it's something that I didn't think a bigger, and it's a streamlined bait, but it's a little bit bigger bait. It has some more appendages to it, but it's really, really, I mean, having some great results on it.
Well, you know, you've talked about that bait pretty much all crappie season. So,
oh yeah, like I said, because I've been playing with it. I think it came out last year. I just got mine first of the year, and just kind of wanted me to see what was going on with it, how fish will react to it, because it's, you know, this is Bobby Garland is not only nationwide, they're worldwide, and so they're trying to get with all of us guys to let's play with it and see pros and cons or whatever. Right now, I don't have anything negative to say about it because it has really, really been a good producer for me.
Well, I was kind of hoping you were going to go with the Cajun cricket because that's kind of
I've had a whole lot of they're liking my little Cajun cricket call. I better hold off on that this time because it's been more of a bluegrass and the Mayfly color here the last month, so I don't have a call for that.
Well, and I'm going to ask listener opinion on this. So when you hear it and you want to comment or vote, just hit us up at the backroadsinfo@gmail.com and you can put your opinion in. But I think, Lee, when we go do some commercial type videos for your folks, your sponsors, that we somehow need to kind of incorporate that, you know, that Cajun cricket call into a commercial. Put you in some blue jeans, put you in some overalls, you know, cut off into shorts with no shirt, and a nice straw hat. Huh?
What do you mean put me in them? I got them.
Okay. Well, make sure those are clean.
I still got some 1986 Liberty real trees. I mean, yeah.
No shirt, straw hat.
You ain't got to dress me. You ain't got to dress me.
I forgot that was normal attire.
Yeah, I think to say, man. My other pair started rattling on me, and I had to quit wearing them to church.
But I think that would be I think it'd be seen worldwide if we did that.
Yeah, my last the ABT I had on there, I told you I was just so proud to get out of there alive, and just at least, you know, I hung on and gained a little bit of ground on them. But I told the guys we was all rooming, and it's a bunch of guys like us. I mean, man, we had 6 or 8 of us staying in a house, and it was something going on all the time. We're cooking, we're all talking and cutting up, and all of us are a little older. And I tell them, I said, man, I'm gonna do me a Ric Flair. And I said, if I can catch 2 or 3 fish, I'm doing a Ric Flair and get out of here. Hold on. Listen, hang on. My little buddy's done traded one out here. Yeah, he's mad. He expects the doors to kick open and 22 rifle go blazing when he does that. But anyway, I told him, I'm doing that Ric Flair. And they said, what is that? I said, you never heard of Ric Flair? 2 claps and a Ric Flair? Woo! And I hopped up on stage. I did that, and they all about come unglued.
Well, that gives me my next commercial we're going to do is for like probably maybe K2 coolers or something.
Yeah.
We'll do the K2 cooler, Ric Flair, 2 claps and a holler.
Yeah. 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't.
Woo! I talked to, and you brought that up, I talked to K2 Coolers the other day. They have got a new shoulder pack. You know, the bags that you tote instead of the 20 and 50 quart coolers, the big thick wall coolers.
Yeah.
They've come out with one of the bags, the zip bags.
Oh, that's cool.
And like I said, I don't know. I'm trying to tell you what you call it right now. You look at k2coolers.com, you'll go to it. But I don't have mine yet, so I don't know what the name of it is.
All right. I'll pull it up.
But, yeah, look at K2 Coolers because they have just, you know, they've always had the big coolers, 20-quart coolers. They got the cups. They got everything, you know, all the needs, you know, for your summertime. And even keeping your coffee warm in the wintertime. But yeah, they've just now got that new shoulder bag that it's a good deal. It don't break your back toting it somewhere.
Well, when you talk to them next time, tell them to send you a new cup, because that one you got's about wore out.
Oh man, I just now got it seasoned. Yeah, it's like a good iron skillet. You got to season them.
It's seasoned, all right.
I'll forget, and I'm so forgetful. You know how I am a lot of times. At one of the marinas that I go out of, one of the ladies that cooks there, I'll lose my cup 4 or 5 times a week. You know, I'll come in with my coffee, and I'm drinking my coffee, talking to everybody, shooting the bull. I get my minnows, get my jigs, whatever I need. Got my clients would go out. Also, I'm looking, my cup's gone. And so I'll come in either for lunch and let them have a little bite, or when the day's over. And I guess in my mind, here's the deal, okay? I'll have that Black Rifle coffee in the morning. I've got it going. All of a sudden, midday, I pour that coffee out. When I'm through, I put my other octane in it, and that counteracts the coffee stains. So
That's
it's a
true.
wash. You don't have to clean that cup. You don't have to wash that cup. Every day it's a wash.
So you just
she'll get my cup and she'll say, "That is disgusting." And she'll clean it, and it'll be sitting on the minivat when I come back in. So, oh, there's my cup.
and it just don't taste right after it's been cleaned.
No, I told her, I said, "Man, I've seasoned that just right. You got to leave it alone."
All right.
I like a little Black Rifle coffee.
Oh, it's good. I like it too. It'll get you going. That's for dang sure.
You got that right.
All right, I pulled up K2 coolers. It's called the Sherpa.
Huh?
The Sherpa.
That
You know
may be
that
one
the
of
little
the-
fella that takes you up Mount. What's the tallest mountain in the world? Everest. I got the guys that guide you.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
he's called a Sherpa.
okay. So it means it'll go anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it now.
Yep.
It means it will go anywhere you want to go. It's there for you.
They got a Sherpa 10, a Sherpa 15, and this is what I would go for here. They got a Sherpa backpack.
Yes.
That's cool.
Now that is good right there. I don't know if anybody's got a backpack.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big cooler aficionado. I've got my.
Hey, K2 Cooler's got a backpack.
Well, when they sponsored us in our TV show we did, I've got a K2 cooler out in the basement. I use all the time.
I was thinking, say, and I'm sure it's still in tip-top condition.
Well, my wife takes care of that. She's OCD when it comes to cleanliness, so I'll mess it up, she'll clean it up.
And
That's a good deal, though.
program. There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
program.
that's a good deal for me.
But see, me and my wife are so much alike. I'll mess something up, and she'll like, "Hell, it looks good to me."
Well, and I'll tell you that
I'm good. Let's go. Let's roll.
the only problem with that is, and it's not really a complaint because she does so much for me that I am blessed in that regard. But if you have to hang a picture or something, you just go ahead and put your phone on mute and reschedule appointments because you're going to be there a little bit.
Yeah, we got to be precise on ours too.
Yeah. Well, I had to get out the leveler and and all that. It's got to be levels, and if you hang other pictures with it, they got to be, I don't know the word for it, but they got to be just right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I've got a good friend of mine, and I've talked about him on this show a whole bunch. Me and him, we hang out together, and I learned his brother-in-law, and I'll go ahead and say his name because he's a great friend of mine too, Benny. Benny, his mind does not work like my mind does. This man is a perfectionist. He is a woodworker, does in his spare time, and does this and does some of the most unbelievable pieces of furniture, tables, woodworking you've ever seen. And I'm a country boy. This man right here is a very educated, smart man and does everything like you're supposed to and works hard at it, and he makes sure it's done right. Me, I'm like, hey, that's close enough. Let's roll. So I had gotten a piece of wood from him, the prettiest. It's on my bar upstairs. The top of my bar.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's beautiful.
Okay, he knew not to trust me on putting that in, so he came over with Bob, and we're putting it all in, and we're measuring it. He said, "Nope, that's not gonna work. Let's move it. Let's do this." And we're piddling around. We're talking. I got a hunting show on, and we're cutting up. He said, "Nope, pick it back up. Let's move it." And I finally said, "Hey, let's we're off an eighth of an inch. To hell with it. Just nail it." And he said, "Hey, there ain't no to hell with it. It's on my job." And I was like, "Yes, sir."
There you go.
But he did it like you're supposed to.
I'm with you.
I had it now, where I was thinking, man, I should have done that a different way. But he does it, and he knows it, and he goes, and he said, here's how it's gonna be, or I ain't letting it happen. But he did it right. I mean, it's just
bless those people.
He's a good friend of mine.
Everybody needs somebody like that. Keep people like me and you in line. Right,
because all of a sudden we're like the old ladders you see on cartoon where it goes different ways 4 times.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He wasn't gonna have that.
That is exactly right. Well, Lee, we've got a couple of announcements about our show. Let's run through those just real quick, and then we'll get to some Backroad news. The website will be out soon. That's my fault. It's been delayed. I just hadn't been able to sit down long enough to finish it up. It's going to be the backroadspodcast.com. So if you'll go on our Facebook page in a few days, you'll be able to link to it from there. All our podcasts will be on there. Have some news, some fishing news, some hunting news on there. And something else, too, is we're finishing up our studio in here, and I've about got it ready to go, but still a few more tweaks to do to get it like I like it. But we're going to start doing the show on YouTube as well. We'll do it, for Spotify and Apple and all the other podcast carriers. But we're also going to do it on YouTube, and that way we'll be able to, if we're talking about something, we'll be able to show you what we're talking about as far as, how we rig a bait or we'll have the ability to run some videos during the podcast to show you what Lee's talking about, or Rodney or Rusty. So those are things to look forward to. I know for us, I hope for you guys.
Well, that's something that I run into a lot, because I can show you, I can sit there and show you how to tie a knot that I'm trying to tie, or how I put a trailer on a bait, or how I'm going to tune a crankbait if it's out a little bit. But me trying to tell you, I don't get my point across like I need to. But if I show you, I can show you by hand and show you, so that'll help a lot right there.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a visual guy. You can't tell me how to do something over the phone normally. And when I learn something, I go on YouTube. If I need to know how to change something out on my truck or whatever, I go on YouTube so I can watch it. You can Google it and it'll go through instructions and, change the widget 3 degrees. Well, what the hell is that? But if I go on YouTube, I can go, oh, yeah, okay, I know what that is.
I was thinking about something off the damn, what the hell was that with Wizard of Oz, them little people. Was that not what widgets?
I don't think so.
Because all of a sudden you were talking about that, I was like, oh man, I don't know.
Why is he talking about the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, God, man, that's weird. Don't do that. I mean, maybe it's me. I don't know.
I do know that one.
Hey, my bad on that one.
The one group of those people, I think, were called the Lollipop Kids.
Yes. Yes.
It was,
oh my God.
or the Lollipop Guild. I don't know. You know, they had their own.
They look like they could tap that eye for you too. I mean,
they
guys look like they just come out of a bar somewhere.
You know who they remind me of?
And guess what? They've been drinking on a pony keg. That's some little bitty days, wasn't it?
Yeah. They remind me of Popeye.
Yeah.
Popeye the Sailor Man.
Had that same one, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. But see, I don't know if they had their own union or something. I can't remember if it was the Lollipop Kids
Lollipop Guild, yeah.
Or Lollipop Guild.
They represent the.
Yeah, it's been 20 years since I've seen that. I don't remember. But the other little people, I don't know what they were called. The people of something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know.
All right. Let's move on to some Backroad news.
Okay.
We're just going to leave that where it sits.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, before we get to Backroad news, though, I wanted to ask you a question. You put something on Facebook today with Matt Robertson before he weighed in at the Bassmaster. I'm guessing that was the Bassmaster Classic he did that at.
I couldn't help it. I had to put that on when he came out there, and I mean, I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm different. But this dude right here, he don't care. He come out there with them sleeves cut off. Come out there pumping. I mean, it's like just his walkout, like he came out of a fog machine. Whoa. And he shattered him like old Stone Cold Steve Austin and put him all over his face. I was like, man, I still got a chance. Because I was like, that was amazing right there. That's like on Talladega Nights, and I'm singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with Angel Wings. I mean, God, if they don't fire you up, you're just go on, man. Just hang up right now.
Okay, let's get this visual. We're sitting around the table, and we're in Matt Robertson's marketing meeting. Matt's at the end of the table. Hey, let's hear it. Let's get some ideas. We got to get this guy out there. We got to pump him up. What do y'all got? And there's dead silence in the room, and Matt goes, hey,
let me be me.
What if I take 2 Miller Lights when I pull up in front of the stage in front of thousands of people, and I bust them together, pop them open, pour them all over my face, spit out in the crowd, and then get my bag of fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Do that.
That's a man. That's a man after my own heart. I'm talking about everybody, all your club fishermen, your young men that are wanting to start fishing on Saturdays. You have this visual. You have the video when you come across that stage and what your walkout music's going to be. I mean, here you fixing to. I mean, just and as you get older, it changes from this, and that, but. Man, AC/DC Thunderstruck, just boom, 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 boom. I mean, come on, man. You fixing to rock the whole house. Mine here lately, because I've been listening to it more, Van Halen Unchained.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Oh, wow. And just have it like a wave. Just
yep. I hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah.
That's back in the old well,
yeah,
I was going to say that's back in the old jean shorts days, but you're still wearing them.
Before Diver Down in like 83. Yeah,
I was going to say that's back in the old mullet days. That's back in the old mullet days in your jean shorts and your cut-off shirt, but I forgot you were still wearing them jean shorts.
Yeah. Like I said, hell, I ain't never been nowhere. I didn't know. I look like, what's his name? Morgan Wallen or whatever?
I don't know him.
Well, what's that country singer? What's his name, Wallen?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you got to know him.
I don't know. I don't listen to
the mullet. I mean, I was like, man, that was me in 84 whenever I hit Jack State. God, man, I mean, come on. I did that back then.
I don't listen to new country music.
He's good.
Conway Twitty and that kind of thing.
As they said in the movie, damn, he good. That boy good.
That boy good.
He good. That boy good.
All right, now let's get to Backroad news.
My bad.
No, you're good. This comes from Wired to Fish again. And yeah, if y'all ain't figured out I like Wired to Fish, I'm just going to tell you I like it. All right, this is up in Oregon. So I've kind of got us out of the South here because there's really not a whole lot of craziness going on. And craziness is the only thing that can make the Backroad news. All right. Two guys are fishing on a lake in Oregon, Crane Prairie Reservoir, southwest of Bend, Oregon. Like you've been to Oregon. No, it's B-E-N-D, Bend, Oregon. Two fishermen were trolling by. These guys were fishing from the bank, had their lines out, and they were hollering at them and whatnot. I guess they were getting too close, thought they were getting too close to their lines out there. And they probably, truth be told, they were probably jawing back and forth at each other.
Slow rolling. They slow rolling.
That's right. So one of the fishermen went into a tent and returned with a shotgun and shot over the heads in the general direction of the boaters to keep them away from their lines, which will work, by the way. It's very effective.
People frown on that.
Well, they frown on it, but it will keep you away from the bank.
Yeah, I mean, as they say, a shotgun will get the job done, but it not as always the right thing.
Well, it ended up not being. All right.
Yeah, I figured that part.
Guys in the boat called law enforcement, and I guess the deputies knew something of these guys already because they came out and launched a drone to fly over where those guys were camping and fishing, and the guy that shot at the boat shot at the drone twice. So then it became it became real serious at that point, and they came in with, a nice little group of law enforcement officials
to change the whole tone of the party.
Yeah,
that tends to change it.
I can see where that might dampen it a little bit. But do you think they was drinking Bud Light?
No, because if they was drinking Bud Light, they'd have been out there with little unicorn wands and casting spells on them.
You think he'd had a bubble maker and was shooting
bubbles? We're mad as hell and we're blowing bubbles at you. We're not going to take it anymore. You take big bubble.
Oh, man, that is so funny. All right. Well, that's really all the Backroad news I got this week. I mean, I looked and I spent a couple hours looking for stuff, and man, there's nothing going on.
It's the heat of summer. I mean, that's the deal. It's kind of getting hot, and people, they're just kind of trying to acclimate to it and
I guess
get ready and say, okay, here it's like me and my buddies today. We went up and looked at some deer property. And I was like, well, we really need to be, cutting this. He said, hey, man, it's the middle of June. He said, we got all summer to try to hurt ourselves with these deer fields. He said, this ain't the time to start it. I was like, yeah, you're right. We'll hold back for a little bit. But it's one of those things that, just like we did the last episode, man, I'm ready to open that door and it be a little nip in the air. And then my acorns bouncing off that tin roof of mine. Ting, 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 ting. That's when Thunderstruck starts playing out there.
Is that you walk out in the woods music?
I ranch you, thunder. It's on. You look at my acorns start falling around my house. My dog gets in a different mode then. I mean, he gets out and he walks up there to my car and just pees all over the tire and scratches gravels everywhere and growls. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Hey, we got sucked in again.
We're ready to go home.
Hey, look, did you see this video of that deer. I think it's a buck. I can't really tell, but I think it's a buck that's lost its antlers. That deer eating a snake.
No.
Yeah. Deer standing on the side of the road eating a snake like it's a piece of jerky.
Now, I've seen turkeys jump on them to try to kill them, but I've never seen a deer do that.
I have never seen a deer gnawing on a snake. I couldn't tell what that was hanging from its mouth.
Where he's at.
I mean, good Lord. That surprised me.
That snake must have eaten a bunch of corn or something.
Hey, he must eat some fermented corn.
Yeah.
Gave him a little buzz. I feel like some.
He's not good. That boy good. He good.
I need some meat. Well, Lee, man, I appreciate your time. We're gonna get over here to Rusty Burroughs. Rusty Burroughs is gonna talk to us a little bit about Logan Martin. We haven't talked much about Logan Martin on the Coosa, so again, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you being with us, and just give us one Cajun cricket to go.
If you're looking for the Bobby Garland, you got to get that Cajun cricket.
We're doing that commercial.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. See you.
All right, bye. All right, got Mr. Rusty Burroughs on the phone with us. Just got connected with him. Rusty, how's it going?
Very good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Just got off the phone with Lee Pitts, talking about a little Weiss Lake. We talked about some Neely Henry with Rodney Turner. I want to talk to you about some Logan Martin. I know you've been fishing there. How's it going?
It's going well. You can always catch numbers at Logan Martin, and it's heavily fished. You know, it's close to Birmingham. It's close to Montgomery. It's close to Sylacauga, Anniston, Talladega. It's fished a lot, but you can always catch numbers. I mean, there's no problem going down there and catching 20, 30 keeper size. I say keeper, 12-inch size bass per day.
What when you fished the other day, what was your go-to bait for the day?
Well, here's the deal with bass at this time of year. They're behind what they have been in the past due to we've had warm nights, and the fish have not yet moved out of the grass. We hadn't had hot nights. It's been cool, it's been warm, and they stayed pretty much in the grass. So if I'm going to Logan Martin tomorrow, and this is what I did last week when I was there, I start off in the grass, and you have two baits of choice. You can either parallel the grass with a buzz bait, or you can swim a jig in the grass. Now, some of the grass has got so thick that it's hard to throw a swim jig in, and you might want to throw a frog across it. The lake is full pool, and the grass is 4 to 6 inches above the water. But I like to take a buzz bait, a 3/8 ounce buzz bait, and I'm using a Picasso Rusty Squeaker. It's got thinner wire. It's got a perfect sound. You can bend the blade to touch the head to make it sound the way you want to. And I modify it by taking the skirt that comes with it off, and I put a Z Crawl Jr. in white, slide it up to the head, and I just use those two tails as my attractor on the back of it. It works perfectly. It's not too heavy. It throws real good. And if you'll parallel that grass early, or if it's sparse grass, just throw it all the way to the bank and bring it back. You'll catch numbers of fish. I probably had 25 blow-ups last Friday when I was down there. Caught 2 4-pounders and several more good ones. And with that Z-Crawl on the back of my buzz bait, I do not use a trailer hook. I just use the hook. And the hook that comes in that Picasso buzz bait is an extended hook, a wider gap hook, and you really don't need a extra hook. So I throw just the stock hook that comes on it, but I do modify it by taking the skirt off and putting a white Z-Crawl Jr. On the back of it. Now, after that early morning bite, some fish will stay in the grass all day, and if you're going to stay in the grass and fish them, for those fish in the grass, you need to pitch something to the clumps. Now, the isolated grass after the first hour or so is not near as good as the bunched grass, or what I call clump grass. And you can fish a crawl style bait like a DB crawl Denny Briar crawl, or you can use a Rage crawl, the Strike King. I like, again, that Z Crawl Junior. I just use it in tilapia magic color. I use a 3/8 ounce ledge. You don't need any heavier because it's not that thick. And I just pitch it around the clumps. If I got isolated grass and then a wad of grass or clump of grass, it might be big as a basketball goal hoop, or it might be big as a kitchen table. But just pitch all around it, and those fish will be where that shade is. And you can catch them there. Your other option, after your top water and swim jig bite, is to go to seawalls. You can catch spots on seawalls all day long on Logan Martin. You can catch them from pretty much I-20 south, because that's where you have the best seawalls. And it don't really matter if the seawalls are concrete seawalls or cross-tie seawalls. Either one of those would be good, because the water is 2.5 feet on those seawalls right now. That's good. Now, normally in years past, middle of June as it is, those fish would already have moved out on creek ledges and the river ledge, but they're not out there yet. I spent a lot of time out there on the ledge looking for a bunch of fish and never did find them. I mean, I caught one or two throwing a DT6 crankbait, and then I went up to a DT10 crankbait, and I caught one or two. But the quality fish and the majority of the fish is still hanging around the grass and the seawalls for me. Now, I know people that make a long run to either dam. If they go to the south dam, to Logan Martin Dam, they're fishing the floating docks and the brush piles around the docks. And if they go to the north dam, which is Neely Henry Dam, they're fishing the rock piles or the rock banks, depending on current. The way people read Neely Henry a lot of times is how much water are they going to run? Meaning how many turbines. If they run one turbine, it's great upriver. If they run two turbines, great upriver. 3 turbines is a little much. You got to really be skilled, a skilled caster and a skilled boat operator to keep the boat in the right place to pitch your bait in the eddy so that you can catch them. But if you go down the lake, it's much wider down there, and you have no problem with the current. And what you need to do, if you have a side scan or down imaging, or today the forward-facing sonar, you can find the brush piles in front of the docks, and you can see what fish are set up on them and catch them. But Logan Martin is the lake that you can always catch fish. You can always catch numbers. I don't care how many tournaments, if it's a 200-boat high school tournament or college tournament or what it is, ABT, BFLs, you can go the next day and still catch them. And you're not catching already caught fish. You're catching more fish. Logan Martin is full of fish from 1 pound to 3 pounds. They're just full of them. You got major creeks you can go in. You can go way back in Chockalocka Creek, way back in Broken Arrow Creek. You can go way back in Clear Creek or Rabbit Branch. Those are long-running tributaries that come into Logan Martin, and they're good. But right now, I just stay on the river. And if they run water, I catch spots. If it don't run water, I pretty much catch largemouth. When you're in the grass that first hour and a half, you're fishing for largemouth, so to speak. You will catch a spot or two that's in the grass, but for the most part, you're going to catch largemouth. And then when they cut that water on, usually at 9, 10, sometimes as late as 11, you can go to the rock banks, you can go to the bends of the river where you got current and eddies, and you can catch them right there. But it's a great lake to go, and you can catch them on a number of things. That's what's good. It's the best lake I know of to carry a young person, a child, a teenager, a boy, girl. It don't matter. They can go, and they'll all catch fish at Logan Martin.
Well, what have you got going on next week? I know you're going to be fishing something next week because you're always fishing. And Lord, I wish we all could. What you got going on?
Well, this Saturday, the 17th, I'm actually going to put on a tournament for Spina bifida. It's going to be out of beeswax at Lake, and there'll be 65 to 85 boats probably. I know there's another tournament on the lake coming out of Paradise Point Marina, but we're putting in at beeswax, and we have a tournament every year for the Spina bifida. It's a great organization, and all the proceeds go to Spina bifida. And we've had great turnouts and good catches. It'll take from 17 to 20 to win at Lake, but I'll do the MC. I'm this district's board of directors representative for Alabama Bass Federation, and we bring our weigh-in stand, which is a transfer truck style weigh-in platform, and it's got LED lights and sound, and I'll do the MC, and we'll dress it up and have a performance, so to speak, of the guys weighing in on Saturday. And they'll provide food for all the people that fish. So if you're looking for a place to fish, Saturday from daylight to 3 o'clock, out of beeswax, it's for spina bifida, and that's in Wilsonville, Alabama. And of course, it's on the Coosa River. It's the lake right below Logan Martin. But next week, I have on Wednesday, I fish a 60 and over trail, and that tournament actually is at Lake, but it's not at beeswax. It's out of Talladega Creek. They used to call that Hollywood Ramp, but now they just call it Talladega Creek. And we'll have 20 boats probably in that 60 and over on a Wednesday morning, and it's from daylight or 5:30 to 12:30. We cut it off half a day because some of us old people don't stay out all day unless we have to in bigger tournaments.
I know that's right.
What we try to do after this weekend, there will not be for a couple of months, not a lot of big tournaments that'll draw 100 boats or so. And we try to stay away from the hotter months when the water temperature gets in the 90s, because you have a lot of fish kill. Because I don't care how good you treat them in your live well. I don't care how much ice or if you put hydrogen peroxide or go juice or whatever you put in there, rejuvenate, it will help. But if you catch a big fish especially, it takes more oxygen for those fish to make it. And if you catch two big fish and you got two people fishing and you have to use both sides of the live well, you're going to have a high mortality rate. And we try to stay away from late June, July, and especially August. And we stay away from the bigger tournaments. Then September, we pick up and, we schedule our bigger tournaments around Alabama and Auburn football pretty much. And then October, it's every weekend. November, it's every weekend. December, it's every weekend. So the summertime is a fun time to go. But as you know, there's a lot of recreational boats out on the water. These new wake boats, golly, they're throwing 3-foot high wakes, and that's a problem to fishermen. You got pontoons, you got ski boats, you got jet skis. And they get up and out about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So most of our tournaments will be daylight to 12 o'clock. And we'll be getting off about the time they'll be getting on. So that's how we try to schedule our tournaments pretty much on the Coosa River and the Tallapoosa as well. Wedowee or Lake Harris down there on the Tallapoosa, that's a different story with pleasure boaters. I mean, you go up that little river and you can't even plane off because there's so many on that water. I think we'll see a day soon that they're going to have to regulate the number of boats or have one weekend for pleasure boats and one for fishing, or because you can't do both. There's not enough room. Yeah,
I get that. And that's just a safety concern right there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I know those big wake boats, that sit real deep in the water. I mean, if you're not paying attention,
it'll throw you off the front.
Yes, sir.
I was at Weiss Lake last week, and we went up there on a late Saturday afternoon because I didn't have a tournament that day, and I checked the water schedule, and they were going to cut 2 turbines on at 2 o'clock. So we got there, put in at Leesburg in the canal. We got there about 15 after 2, and we went up. We were just going to back down with the current in the canal and pitch a tube on the bank, and you can catch some real good spotted bass doing that. Well, we couldn't even keep the trolling motor head in the water because we was bouncing so, because the wake boats would go up to the bridge, turn around, go to the powerhouse lake, and go right back. They were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in the canal there at Leesburg. And it's not wide, and there's just not enough room. And what's it doing? It keeps the water sloshed up. The fish don't bite. It's eroding the bank. I don't know. Something's going to have to be done to regulate how much activity's on the water, because it's getting way beyond the amount it needs to be for safety.
I agree 100%. We've covered that a couple of times on the program, and I appreciate you shedding more light on it. That just tells me there's more anglers out there talking about it. I mean, you've been on the water. You're 68 years old.
69.
69. You've been fishing since you were knee-high to a billy goat.
That's right. That's right.
So if that's something that concerns you, with as much time as you spent on the Coosa River and most of the lakes in Alabama, then it should concern every angler out there.
Well, I tell you what you have to do, depending on what lake you're on, you know where the high populated areas are, where the biggest ramps are, where they put in the pontoons, the jet skis, the wake boats. And around that area, they don't go far. Around that area, you got a lot of population of big boats. So if you're going from one place to your weigh-in site, and you got to cross that populated area, you got to allow yourself more time, because you can't just run through there.
No,
because they're not going the way the river runs. They're crossing, and jet skis will jump the wakes of these wake boats, and one's going this way and one's going that way, and it presents a problem. It presents a danger, and it's a danger for fishermen, and it's a danger for the kids on the wake on the jet skis, and whoever's surfing or whatever they're doing behind those wake boats. I mean, it's just not a safe situation with that many boats on the water at the same time.
That's right. You're right. Well, let's in a future episode, let's get more in depth on that a little bit. And Rusty, I know you're busy, and I mean to cut you short, but I know you're trying to get ready to go out of town, and I sure do appreciate you taking a minute and talking to us and letting us know about the fishing on Logan Martin. And look, if y'all want to fish on Logan Martin, the man that knows just told you where to go. So, Rusty, have a great trip.
Thank you so much. It's going to be a quick one. My daughter's moving from one place to another, and I'm going to run to Orange Beach tomorrow, drop off some furniture and bedding, and come back and run that tournament on Saturday. So it's going to be a go down, drop off, turn around, come right back, and go back to work.
There you go.
Looking forward to it.
Well, be safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks, Rusty.
Night.
Well, all right. I appreciate Rusty and Lee being on with us and give us a little fishing information. And Rodney, I appreciate you taking time out to come down to the studio, being in our beautiful facility here in Gadsden, Alabama. Maybe one day we'll get this cleaned up in here and we'll have a bigger.
I still feel like I did something wrong when you're interrogating me for if I killed somebody or something. This light in my face, and I can't see you over in the dark.
Well, I'll try to make it better. I apologize for that, but right now we're in a transition period.
There you go.
But guys, thanks a lot for listening. If you have a question for Rodney or Lee or Rusty Burroughs, just hit us at thebackroadsinfo@gmail.com. Please take a moment to follow the show, wherever you're listening to it, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio, whatever you're listening to. Just give us a follow. It really helps us a lot more than you realize. And we will talk to y'all next week.